When I can't sleep, I crawl into Olga's bed. Last week, Ama told me to never, ever go inside her room, but I can't help it. I slip in there after my parents have gone to bed, and then wake up before they do. I think Ama wants to keep the room exactly as Olga left it. Maybe she wants to pretend that she's still alive, that one day she'll come home from work and everything will be normal again. If Ama knew that I touched Olga's things, she'd probably never forgive me. She'd probably ship me to Mexico, one of her favorite threats, as if that would solve any of my problems. My sister's bed still smells like her. Fabric softener, lavender lotion, and her warm and sweet human scent I can't describe. Olga dressed ugly but smelled like a meadow. I toss and turn for a long time. Tonight, my mind won't shut off. I can't stop thinking about the chemistry test I failed yesterday. 24%, which is the worst grade I've received. Even an intellectually stunted monkey could get a better score. I already hated chemistry, but since Olga died, I haven't been able to concentrate. Sometimes I look at my books and tests, and the words all blur and swirl together. If I keep going like this, I'll never get into college. I'll end up working in a factory, marry some loser, and have his ugly children. After lying in bed for hours, I turn on the lamp and try to read. I've read The Awakening 1,000,000 times, but I find it comforting. My favorite character is the lady in black who follows Edna and Robert everywhere. I also love the book because I'm so much like Edna. Nothing satisfies me. Nothing makes me happy. I want too much out of life. I want to take it in my hands and squeeze and twist as much as I can from it. And it's never enough. I read the same sentence over and over again and lay the book on my stomach. I stare at the light purple walls and remember the happy times I had with my sister before we started to flutter away from each other. There's a picture on her dresser of both of us in Mexico. Our parents used to send us every summer, but it's been years since we've been there. Ama and Apa haven't been able to go back because they're still illegal. The two of us are in front of Mama Jacinta's house. We're both squinting and smiling in the sun, and Olga's arm is around my neck so tight that it is almost as if she's choking me. I remember that day so clearly. We swam in the river for hours, then ate Hawaiian hamburgers from the cart near the park. Most of my childhood sucked, but our summers in Mexico were different. We'd get to stay up all night and play kick the can in the streets until we were filthy and exhausted. Here, we would have been hit by stray bullets. Sometimes we'd get to ride my great-uncle's beautiful black horses, and Mama Jacinta would spoil us with food, no matter how silly our cravings were. Once, she even made us a pizza with stinky ranchero cheese. Behind our picture is a poster of Maná, the terrible Mexican rock band that I hate because all their songs are about weeping angels or something equally lame. On the opposite wall is her high school graduation picture. Olga was a good student, so I could never understand why she didn't want to go to a real college. I've been dreaming of going since I was little. I know I'm smart. That's why they skipped me ahead a year. I was bored out of my skull in class. Now I get mostly B's with a sprinkle of C's, except for English. I always get A's in English. My mind usually wanders and gets lost in a tangle of worries. As I look around the room, I wonder who my sister was. I lived with her my whole life, and now I feel like I didn't know her at all. Olga was the perfect daughter. Cooked, cleaned, and never stayed out late. Sometimes I wondered if she'd live with my parents forever like that sap Tita from Like Water for Chocolate. Ugh, such a terrible book. Olga loved her job. even though she was only a receptionist. What could be so fulfilling about filing and answering phones? The stuffed animals on the dresser make me sad. I mean, I know they're inanimate objects. I'm not an idiot. But I imagine them all melancholic, waiting for my sister to come back. Olga loved babies, the color pink, and peanut butter cups. She always covered her mouth when she laughed because of her snaggletooth. She was a good listener. Unlike me, she never, ever interrupted. She was also an excellent cook. In fact, her enchiladas were better than Ama's, but I've never said that out loud. I know Ama loves me, and always has, but Olga has always been her favorite. Ever since I was a little kid, I've questioned everything, which drove both my parents insane. Even when I tried to be good, I couldn't. It's as if it were physically impossible for me, as if I were allergic to rules. Things just got worse and worse as I got older. Stuff that's sexist, for example, makes me crazy. Once, I ruined Thanksgiving by going on a rant about the women having to cook all day, while the men just sat around scratching their butts. Ama said I embarrassed her in front of the whole family, that I couldn't change the way things have always been. I probably should have let it go after a while, but I stand by what I said. Ama and I also argue about religion all the time. I told her that the Catholic Church hates women because it wants us to be weak and ignorant. It was right after the time our priest said, I swear to God, that women should obey their husbands. He literally used the word obey. I gasped and looked around in disbelief to see if anyone else was as angry as I was, but no, I was the only one. I poked Olga in the ribs and whispered, "Can you believe this shit?" But she just told me to be quiet and listen to the sermon. Ama said I was a disrespectful huerca, that how could the church hate women when we worship La Virgen de Guadalupe? You can't ever win an argument with her, so why do I bother? Stuff like that made us hate each other, and Olga was always taking her side. They looked alike, too. They're both pale and thin, with stick-straight black hair, and I'm chubby, short, and dark, like Apa. I'm not, like, super fat or anything, but I have thick legs, and my stomach is definitely not flat. Oh, and my boobs are much too big for my body. 2 pendulous burdens I've been lugging around since I was 13. I'm also the only one in the family who wears glasses. I'm practically blind. If I went out into the world with naked eyeballs, I'd probably be robbed, run over by a car, or mauled by animals. I read for a little while longer, then try to go to sleep, but I can't. I stay wide awake for what feels like hours. When I hear birds beginning to chirp, I get so angry I tug at the sheets and arrange the pillow over and over again. I feel something inside it press my cheek. For a second, I think it's a feather, but then I remember I'm not living in the 1800s. I sift through the pillowcase and pull out a folded piece of paper. It's a sticky note with the name of a prescription, Lexafron. Olga probably got it from the pharmaceutical people who always visited her office. On the back it says, "I love you." I stare at it for a minute, not understanding. Why the hell is this in my sister's pillow? My mind is leaping, my thoughts doing somersaults and backflips. Olga only had one boyfriend who I knew of, Pedro, a skinny little guy who looked like an aardvark. But that was years ago. I seriously don't know what she saw in him, because not only was he ugly, he had the personality of a boiled potato. Even though I was only 10, I often wondered what was going on in that little brain of his. Pedro was just as shy as Olga, so I don't know what they talked about. When he came to our family parties, my uncles would give him a hard time for being such a dork. I remember Tío Cayetano trying to give him a shot of tequila once, and Pedro just shaking his head no. Most of the time, he'd pick Olga up on Friday nights and take her to dinner. Their favorite place was Red Lobster. Once, they even went to Great America. How riveting. They dated for a year until he and his family moved back to Mexico. Oh my God, who does that? That was the last I knew about Olga's love life. I tiptoe to her closet and start digging through her things as quietly as possible. One box is filled with photos from school. Most of them are of Olga and her friends during science fairs, field trips, and birthday parties. She was in the science club at school, and for some reason felt the need to document every single moment. I mean, there's even a picture of her holding a microscope. Jesus, my sister was boring. I keep sifting through the box when I feel some clothes. I can't be prepared for what I pull out. 5 pairs of silk and lace thongs. Sexy lady underwear. The kind I imagine a very expensive hooker might buy. At the very bottom, I find skimpy lingerie. I have no idea what it's called. A nightie? A negligee? A teddy? Such stupid names for things that are supposed to be sexy. Why would Olga have this in her closet? Why would she subject herself to these forever wedgies when she didn't even have a boyfriend? Was this what she wore under her senior citizen ensembles? Olga must have done a good job washing them in secret because if Ama had found them in the laundry, she would have flipped the hell out. I have to find her laptop now. I have 2 hours until my parents wake up. I look everywhere, even the places I already searched. Finally, when I'm so tired I'm about to give up, I think to check the most obvious place of all, under her mattress. And there it is. Duh. I know guessing a password is probably impossible, but I have to make an effort. I try a few things. Her favorite food, our parents' hometown, Los Ojos, our dress, her birthday, and even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which only a complete moron would use. Oh, who am I kidding? This is impossible. I go back to her dresser. There has to be something else in there. Her junk drawer is full of pens, paper clips, scraps of paper, receipts, old notebooks. Nothing even remotely interesting. As I consider going back to sleep, I find an envelope under a pile of note cards. It feels like there's a credit card inside, but it's not. It's a hotel key. The Continental, it says. Except for our trips to Mexico, Olga has never, ever slept anywhere else. Why would she need a hotel key? Angie works at a hotel, but it's called something else. The Skyline, I think. I hear someone open a door. Maybe Ama or Apa got up to pee. I flick off the light as quickly as possible and try not to move or breathe. If Ama catches me, she'll make sure I never get in here again. The next thing I know, I wake up to the sound of someone in the kitchen. My pillow is wet. I must have fallen asleep before I could set an alarm on my phone. Holy shit! Ama is going to kill me. I make Olga's bed as fast as I can and press my ear to the door to make sure no one is near when I sneak back into my room. Ama must have been wearing ninja shoes because when I open the door, there she is with her hands on her hips.